this is the center back seam, and I'm going to match that to my seam on my waistband. So I'm going right sides together. I'm just going to pin that, and I'm just going to continue pinning all the way around. I like to make sure that I'm pinning my seams down in the direction that I want them to go. That way they don't accidentally get run over the wrong way. I'm sure you've experienced that. I definitely have. So make sure you're pinning the edge that you didn't fold down. So I'm pinning the raw edge. I'm going to go pin that, and then I'm going to sew that with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, so I have sewn the waistband on using a 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and now I'm going to press those seams up towards the waistband. This is very, very thin fabric, so I don't need to grade the seams, that is like trim them back at different levels. If I were using pretty much anything else, I would do that, but this is basically, it's as fine as like a silk almost. Okay, so you'll do that all the way around. And then the next step is to fold this waistband down. So you're going to fold it down so it just overlaps that stitching line. So see this stitching line here, we're going to stitch in the ditch is the next step. So I just want to just overlap that so that when I stitch in the ditch, we'll catch this edge and we'll end up with a nice clean finish. So I'll press that down and you'll be left with that clean finish on the inside and the outside. I'm going to do that all the way around and then show you how I'll pin it. Okay, so I have pressed the seam allowances up, and I've pressed the waistband so that it so that the folded edge just overlapped that stitching line. So now the next step is that I'm going to stitch in the ditch. Now I do need to leave a little gap so I can thread my elastic later, so I'm just going to mark that with pins. And I do that vertically, like just like a stop sign, so that I do it basically, that I don't overrun. So I'll know that I start and stop here. Now I think this is the best way to pin for stitching in the ditch. It's really easy to like either miss your ditch or miss catching the inside. It's a bit tricky. So I recommend pinning in that ditch. So stitching in the ditch is stitching right in this ditch that's formed by the other stitching line. So I'm going to put my pin through to the other side and out again, just where I would stitch, and then I check on the other side to make sure that I have caught that edge. So you can see that's going to be good. So pinning in the ditch just where I would stitch, and then checking it on the other side, and I'm going to do that all the way around. Sorry, off camera there we go. So it's okay, so I'm going to do that all the way around, and then I'm going to stitch in the ditch. So just stitch all the way around in that ditch. If you happen to miss it, you can just unpick that little section and do it again. Or if that's if you miss the ditch, or if you find that you miss that back side, if you don't quite catch it down, you can just unpick a little bit, repin it and go over it. It's not really a big deal. Hopefully if you do a good job stitching right in that ditch, you won't really see the stitching line, and especially once we have the elastic in, it's going to shrink up. So it's really, you know, not the biggest deal. If it's not absolutely perfect, it won't be visible